Every year, parents spend billions of dollars on toys, flashcards, learning apps, and baby gadgets, all hoping to give their child's brain a head start. But researchers at Harvard have spent over 2 decades studying something that outperforms almost all of it, and it doesn't cost a single dollar. It takes about 5 minutes a day, and most parents have never even heard its name. Here's what the research actually found. Scientists who study early brain development weren't looking at how many words a baby heard in a day. They were looking at something much smaller, the tiny back and forth moments between a parent and a child. A baby looks at something, a parent notices and responds. That's it. That's the whole exchange. Picture your baby lying on a blanket, reaching for a toy. She knocks it, it rolls away, and she looks up at you. In that half second, her whole brain is waiting to see what happens next. What you do in that half second either builds something in her brain or it doesn't. Researchers gave this simple exchange a name. They call it serve and return. And what they discovered about it may be the most important 5 minutes of your entire day. Picture a newborn lying on her playmat, morning light coming through the window. She catches your eye, makes a small ooh sound, and waits. She's not just making noise, she's sending a signal, and her whole nervous system is watching to see what happens next. If you lean in, smile, and say something as simple as, "Oh, I see you, sweetheart," you've just closed the loop. That's the return. And in that one small exchange, thousands of tiny neural connections are firing and strengthening inside her brain. This is how early wiring actually happens, not through programs or products, but through ordinary moments most adults would never even think to call a conversation. Put simply, your baby's brain grows fastest not from what she hears, but from what you and she build together, one small exchange at a time. There's real research behind this. A widely cited study out of MIT scanned children's brains and found that the number of back-and-forth conversational turns between a child and a caregiver predicted language and reasoning ability far more strongly than the sheer number of words a child was exposed to. In other words, it wasn't about talking near a child, it was about talking with one. Children who had more of these responsive exchanges showed stronger development in the brain regions tied to language and thinking. And here's the part that should make every parent watching this exhale a little. The effect held true across every income level and every kind of family. It didn't matter how much money was in the house or how many toys were on the shelf. What mattered was presence, a parent noticing and answering. That means this isn't a privilege reserved for parents with time, money, or the right resources. It's already available to you, in your home, starting today, with nothing more than attention and a willingness to respond. There's an experiment from the 1970s that shows exactly what happens when this response disappears, even for a few seconds. Psychologist Edward Tronick called it the still face experiment, and once you see it, you won't forget it. A mother sits with her baby, playing, talking, answering every little sound and glance. The baby is delighted, fully alive in the exchange. Then, on cue, the mother's face goes still. She doesn't leave the room, she simply stops responding. Within seconds, the baby notices. She smiles bigger, reaches out, points at anything she can find, trying everything to get her mother back. When nothing works, she becomes visibly distressed, not because her mother left, but because the answering stopped. The moment the mother responds, the baby's whole body relaxes. The world feels safe again. This isn't about blame, it's about how deeply your baby is wired to expect you to respond. She isn't passively absorbing the world around her, she's reaching for you constantly in dozens of small ways every single hour. And if you're watching this right now, wondering whether you're doing enough, the truth is you almost certainly already are. So here's how to make this practice deliberate in 3 simple steps. First, notice the serve. When your baby makes a sound, points at something, or looks toward an object, that's serve. Pause. Follow her eyes. Most of these signals last only a second or two, which is exactly why they're so easy to miss in a busy day. Second, return it with warmth. If she's staring at the ceiling fan, you might say, "Oh, you see the fan spinning around? Look at that." If she points at the family dog, "Yes, that's Max. He's coming to say hi." The exact words matter far less than the fact that you met her exactly where her attention was. Third, leave space for the next serve. After you respond, pause. Let her lead the next exchange. That back and forth rhythm, not the words themselves, is where the real building happens. And here's why this quietly beats almost anything on the market. A flashcard can't notice what your baby is curious about. An app can't lean in and smile when she lights up. The most expensive educational toy in the house is, from a brain development standpoint, nearly silent compared to a few minutes of a parent who stops, looks, and answers. Your baby is reaching for you all day long, in 100 small ways. A coo on the playmat, a tiny finger pointed at a bird outside the window, a glance up at you after a toy rolls out of reach. Every one of those moments is an invitation. And every time you answer, even with a single word, even with just a smile, you're building something inside her that no toy, no app, and no program ever could. 5 minutes a day. That's all it takes. Done again and again over the weeks and months ahead, it will give your child more of what her brain actually needs than almost anything money can buy. And the fact that you're here right now, learning how to show up for her in this small, quiet way, already tells you something true about the parent you're becoming. If this helped you see your baby a little differently, share it with another parent who needs to hear it too. It might be exactly the reminder they didn't know they needed today. Watch for the serves. Answer with warmth. Your baby is listening with her whole being.